Hey everybody, I'm going to do a video really quickly about how to emulate Noby Noby Boy. I wrote this post on it the other day, and I just want to give people a rundown on how to do it. First off, I'm going to link this video about how to get the emulator up and running because it does a better job explaining it than I can. I am not a pro at this, so I don't really know everything I need to know about it. I just know how to get this one game up and running. I haven't worked on anything else. So the tools you're going to need to get this done are first 7-zip if you don't have this. So download that, whatever Windows type you have. You probably have 64-bit if you have Windows 10, but you're going to need that. So that's the first thing, and it's a really great tool to have if you don't have it already. If you don't have it already, how are you using a computer, dog? Crazy. The next thing would be the actual emulator itself. Okay, so we see a nice quick start guide here, but we don't really need that. This is kind of what you're going to need to know. So you download the emulator, you're going to get a RAR file. So I'm going to open mine here. I have already extracted it and opened it up. It's not going to look exactly like this at first, but it's going to be enough so you get the idea. So then you're going to open it up. Here's our next step. So we need the system software update, and the latest is 4.85. You're just going to agree to this and download it from the official Sony website, right? So we don't need this, we don't need that. So you're going to download that file. That file's a little bit bigger, and you're going to put it wherever you want. And here's what you're going to do with it, right? Once it finishes, install firmware. You're going to click on that. You're going to find your file, ps3update.pup, right? And you're going to open that. When we open this, you're going to see this window comes up here, and then, if I remember correctly, a bunch of smaller windows open. No, it's everything's down here in the log. So we see this, that works. Okay, now here's the next step for setup. I'm glad that I'm stuttering and saying so much. Makes this video really beautiful. So we're going to download DS4 Windows. Really great tool. I already have this installed here. You can also get away with not having that if you have your controller set up through Steam. So if I close this, I should get a prompt from Steam saying that my controller, my controller is already configured through Steam. So either one will work. If you're using a different method, like an Xbox One controller or something like that, that will work too. So all we're going to do here, we're going to go to configuration pads, and you're just going to click on whatever you want up here. Mine is DualShock 4, obviously. If you have a Xbox controller, it's going to be X input. So that should automatically detect it. You don't need third-party software apparently to run X input, but you do need third-party software like a Steam or a DS4 Windows to run a DualShock 4. So then you're just going to go through this, and so it's going to say, like, your D-pad up. You want to press up on your D-pad. You're going to go through and make sure you have everything set up the way it should be set up. Quite honestly with you, I didn't do any of this. It kind of just worked. So that was cool. And devices here, you might have to find the one that's actually connected to your computer. You can't see this, but my controller's on. The LED light on the back is on. So once that all happens, you got all this set up, you're pretty much good to go. Now this is the sketchy part of the video. We're just going to run a thought experiment here, right? Because if I typed into Google Noby Noby Boy ISO, it's very, very hard to find. But hypothetically, if we went to Reddit and look for ROMs, and then maybe we clicked on the first one, This is a thought experiment. That's all it is. And we went to ROM-linked Megathread version 2, retro N64 and newer games. See here. So this is a newer game. We're gonna click here. And now we have this like Google Doc filled with stuff, and I'm going to click on Sony. I'm going to go to PS3, and where I found mine, or hypothetically, if I, in this thought experiment where I would have found mine, mine's 100% legitimate. I'm not breaking the law at all. So is this last one right here, right? This is going to be a pain in the ass to click. But this last link right here, so maybe that's the one you want to go to. Even if you're European, I think you're going to want to use the USA one. That's the one I use, and that's what works. There's 2 links in there. Download the updated one. And that's why this video is private, by the way. Okay, so what's going to happen is you will get a RAR that contains this. Extract it to wherever you feel comfortable putting it. None of this stuff will run your game just yet. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this stuff in here. We're going to copy this folder. And we're going to put it into dev hdd0 in disk. This is inside your RPS3, or whatever it's called, RPSC3 folder, right? Into disk. And you're going to paste that right in there. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to look for the only other RAR file inside this. We're going to right click, 7-zip, open archive. And what you're going to do really is extract it right inside that folder right there. So it should be these 4 files. Crack 4.21.package, crack full, and then update 1.10.package. Okay. Now we're going to go back. I'm going to close out my emulator here. I'm just going to reopen it. Alright? So now we're going to go to File, and then install PKG, install package. Now, here's the real truth about this. I have no clue how I got this to work. I just went and I clicked around and I installed this file here and the crack 4.12, I think. So I figured this was the biggest one, and this was the crack that was, I don't know, with a number behind it or something like that. And so I installed those, right? So if you install it, it's going to look like this. And I'm going to just install the latest one. And hopefully this will work. It might not work, and then you'll actually be able to watch me make it work. So it should be the 1.10. This is 1.0. We don't really need that one. Alright, success. And once you have that, and we can install PKG, the crack as well. Beautiful. We are going to make sure our controller is connected. Then just double click on it. Look at all this green down here. That means good things are happening. Alright, so there it is. Noby Noby boy. Running it up. So here's the problem with this. This is not the best way to do it, right? The problem here would be we can't connect to the PlayStation Network. This will let you experience the game, but because you can't connect to the PlayStation Network, we're not going to be able to contribute to Girl, right? So this is like a version of the game that no one else is playing. See, my little guy there is telling me I haven't signed in. The first time I ran this, I got some hiccups around this point, and you can see some of the shaders, some of the shadows and stuff like that are looking a little bit weird. And you guys should be getting the beautiful sounds of the game through my microphone. But it doesn't really matter here, right? So we're gonna mute this. Whatever. I'm gonna make this video unlisted anyways because it contains illegal shit. So I can play the game, right? So the motion controls should work here. Yeah, I'm using my controller for the camera. I can play the game. Pretty cool. And this game is super neat. I'm the guy who made all those videos talking about Keita Takahashi's games. I don't feel like I could make a video on this one just because I haven't played the real version of it, right? Which is kind of a drag. But it is what it is. At least we can kind of document it historically. And so if I went all the way up, and all this has sound, but I just muted the sound because I'm an idiot, and instead of putting it through headphones, I just put it through my speakers. So we can go talk to the sun, but we can't report our length. Okay? Watch, it says you're not connected to PlayStation Network. Kind of a drag. Can't sign in. So we can go check out some other stuff. We can switch levels. All the things you normally be able to do in the game. I don't think this looks as good as the original looked, but it does work. Now, if you're doing this, what I would ask you is to go on Twitter and bother Bandai Namco, because to the best of their knowledge, there is no fan base for this game, unfortunately. And they're more or less correct. But I think it's important historically to preserve these games, especially in a game like this, because it's so strange, really. So like they did a fan survey, for what the kind of merchandise they want to see in the Bandai Namco store. This is not related at all, and this kind of is like shitty of me to do this, but I have sent them stuff like this before, and in the survey I wrote, please put Nobi Boy back in the store. So, don't harass them or anything like that, but every once in a while I try to represent the fan base a little bit, and hopefully they'll put it back on. So that's all I know about this. This video that I'm showing here is way better at explaining this shit than I am. I'm going to make this video unlisted. This is of questionable legality, so please don't, go buck wild sending it to folks. But this is kind of what I see as the next step for the game. If this is the way we can preserve it, then this is the only way I see right now, because Bandai Namco is unwilling to support the game on their own, unfortunately, as of right now. So good luck, and yeah, have a good day.